What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Dudes Who Bet Daily, June 7th, 2023. Aaron, we have been freaking rolling on the baseball side. As someone who doesn't bet baseball often before this year, where I'm betting it every day now, I am loving life. How are you doing?
I love baseball. It's my favorite thing. It's great too, because right when the horse racing ends, the baseball starts. It's just my whole day is totally planned out there. Yeah, it's been really good. We've had a good run on baseball. You'll see it with the our ROI or whatever we talk about at the end of the show with our daily picks. But other picks other than just the one we give out here in the show have done really well. So let's keep it rolling. That's the thing. We can't get too cocky. We got to keep our heads level for this.
Yeah, as someone who is a bet a lot and currently just on fire, I know there is the shoe's dropping at some point, right?
Yeah.
Now, you talked about this earlier. We actually both mentioned it, how, I don't watch baseball. I simply play numbers here. Very simple for me. If I think the line is wrong, I'm going that direction. If the pitching matchup says something, I'm playing first five. For me, it's very simple. And then I just update essentially the scoreboard on my phone. I don't actually watch a pitch. Now, You've bought the package now. That's how into this you are. Has that changed your baseball betting opinion now that you can watch these games?
No, not at all. I have the same exact, process that I'm doing. I told myself, you can't get too sucked into this and get mad when certain pitchers do this or that or whatever. So no, but I did buy it because I just kind of thought, look, if I'm going to be betting on this, I probably should watch it, so and it's just kind of fun. Baseball is a little bit easier to watch because of the pitch count, the pitch clock, I should say. So it's, games only lasting about 2.5 hours now. So that's pretty good as well. So it hasn't changed at all, though. I do the same three things every morning when I wake up, and then whoever I pick, and then here we go.
Now, let's transition over to horse racing real quick. Obviously, the Belmont Stakes this weekend. Phenomenal cards, both Friday and Saturday. Just got through both of them this morning, or finished getting through both of them. I was surprised about my Belmont pick and how confident I am in it. We will get there on the Magic Mike show today from 3 to 4 Pacific. We're doing the pick 5 ending in the Belmont, so we'll talk a lot about it there. But one of the stories coming out today, 3 racetracks in the Northeast have all canceled because of air quality. So there's a wildfire up in Canada. Are you worried at all about how this is going to affect Belmont here? We got a couple days out, but the game last night in New York, the Yankees game, was clearly affected by the air quality. Any concern here that this is going to be the bugaboo for this Triple Crown event?
Well, first of all, the Yankees game went fine. I don't want to hear any talk.
I had the over, so it didn't go fine. I was upset about that.
I had the White Sox plus 140, so it was fine. I don't know why you're worried about. No, it did. Honestly, you talk about watching baseball, so I was watching that one because I had a bet, and it looked like, how like sometimes you're at a football game and it's at night and they shoot off pyros right before a team comes on the field and there's like haze for 10 or 15 minutes. That's what it looked like, and I thought I didn't know anything about this. I don't watch the news, so I thought they must have shot off some pyros and it's just hanging there. No, it was just hazy. So, am I worried about? Listen. In racing this year, anything that could go wrong is going wrong. So yes, would be my answer. I am worried about it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Penn National, who else canceled? There's Penn National,
Delaware Park, and Finger Lakes have all canceled.
Yeah, so all 3 Northeast tracks, and the Delaware one's a little concerning, right? And Penn National even, but it's a little further south. But Delaware, that definitely affects that greater New York area, right, when you're talking about that track. So we'll see what happens here. Definitely the story that you want to keep an eye on heading into the Belmont. One more thing before we go on. What race are you looking forward to the most this weekend?
I think the Belmont's going to be pretty incredible. But I won't say that because that seems like an obvious answer. The Woody Stevens drawing 13 horses and drawing the likes of General Jim and Fort Bragg, who put on a show, and then drew Arabian Lion, who put on a show in his last start. That's going to be a pretty damn good race. So I would have to go the Woody Stevens.
Yeah, Woody Stevens should be a lot of fun. You have Fort Bragg in there as well. I mean, just a really, really fun race with a full field. I thought the turf races both days were phenomenal too. I mean, like the New York on Friday is great. Mile and a quarter, you're going to see Warlake Goddess, who's coming back in there. And then the race right prior to the Belmont, I think, is phenomenal as well. We get up to the mark back, trying to stretch out, going against a tougher field. 2 European horses come in, who I think both ran really well last time. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare as well. So just a really, really fun card. Glad to hear this from Sylvain here, coming in from Toronto, saying It's worse will be by the Toronto area, but today is a lot better than yesterday in Montreal. So hopefully everything gets settled there in Canada. Obviously, don't want anyone to get hurt. Don't want that fire to keep burning. As someone who's lives in California, know the pain of wildfires. So hopefully we can get those off or out of there. And Kevin brings up an interesting point too. Is it going to be Pletcher or the Appleby who's favored in that turf race? Because up to the mark, I think it's 8-5 morning line, but I'm not sure that's actually what he will go off at.
If you remember, both these horses ran on the same exact day, which was Kentucky Derby Saturday. And, the Appleby horse was just tremendous in the local prep up at Belmont for this one. Just outstanding. We were on the air and talking about that horse, but up to the mark was equally as good. So that's going to be one hell of a race. And to be honest, I'm with you. I've gone through the whole card. That's one where I put a circle. It's like, okay, I don't have a decision made on that one yet. That's going to be really good.
Yeah, we will be live on the air for that race, as well as a couple others on Belmont Saturday too. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel here to check us out for the live coverage leading up to the Belmont Stakes on Saturday. All right, Aaron, let's jump into the classic pros versus Joe's game here. The Nuggets now laying 3 against the Heat. Total sitting at 214.5 is interesting. Game 2, we see that total open at 214.5, get bet up to 216. Ends up going over because Miami Heat were in fuego in the fourth quarter. This game opened Nuggets -2, went to 2.5, went back to 2. Now we're up to 3. You talk about the betting splits all the time on the baseball side. All the pro money is on the Nuggets, all the recreational money on the Heat, both money line and on the spread in this one. What are you doing here?
You said it beautifully. And when it's like that, you know what I do? I go where the pros are at. I'm going to go Nuggets all the way. I feel like this is what's happened. Game 1, everybody's saying it's going to be Nuggets 4-5. Don't even worry about it. This is going to be a series. Game 2, the public all of a sudden goes, oh, here come those pesky Heat. Listen, if you heard the Nuggets coach right after the game, he was furious with his team. He thought they played awful, specifically effort. So I think now the overreaction by the public, this is where you cash in on the Nuggets. I'm on the Nuggets all the way tonight. Even if you don't want to mess with 3 points, their money line isn't just awful, but I'll take the 3. I'll go -3 with the Nuggets tonight. I think they get it done. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they kind of heard what we all were saying. Hey, we've got we've got a 4 or 5 game series here. There's no way they're going to beat them, all this stuff. And it kind of went to their heads a little bit. I think they play a lot better tonight. I think they win pretty easily.
45% of the money line bets on the Nuggets, yet 72% of the money. Rarely do you see a favorite with that heavy of a split. Normally it's the dog because people want to take the plus price. 55% of the tickets written on Miami, but they're all small tickets. They're not the big tickets. Can I interest you in some alt lines?
Listen, I said no in game 1. It's possible you could interest me in some now.
Denver -7.5 plus 180.
I would take it.
To me, it's like, look, that game 2, and Miami shot well all playoffs. So at this point, I don't know if you can call it a complete aberration considering how poorly they shot in the regular season. They were 17 for 35, I believe it was, 48.8%, and they won by 3.
Yep.
Everything had to go right for that game to go in that direction. Yep. Denver had a double-digit lead in the third quarter again. To me, this is a Denver game. I bet them -2. I would probably still play them -3, but I'm thinking I'm going to get in at -7.5 plus 180 or -8 plus 200 as well, because I do think there's a chance that this is a Denver 15-point win, somewhere in that range.
I do too. Like I said, I think they'll win pretty comfortably. I would be a little surprised. Maybe if you don't cash the -7.5, I wouldn't be that surprised. But if they actually lose this game, I would be pretty surprised. I'm pretty confident in them tonight winning. Once you play with points like this, weird, stupid stuff could happen. But I'm really confident the Nuggets are going to win the game.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of sharp money on the under as well. I've not played the total. I'm not planning on playing the total. I think it's about right here at 214.5. I think there's going to be less points in Miami than what we saw in Denver. And so I kind of agree with the number here. Any thoughts on the total?
I think it's about right. I think for the Heat to win, it needs to go under.
I would tend to agree. I think it is kind of correlated Heat in the under if you see it there, because if Denver puts up 115, I don't see the Heat covering the 3.
No.
All right, let's jump into some baseball here. The Dodgers -155 with Noah Syndergaard on the bump, taking on the Reds. Total sitting at 11. Interested what you're going to do with this one, and then I'm going to tell you about my little Reds action I got in on this weekend.
I'm looking forward to that. I will take the Reds here in this game. They beat the Dodgers last night, a ferocious comeback last night, and then a walk-off double in the ninth for the Reds to get the job done there. Had to score 3 in the ninth to do it too. The Dodgers blew the save, and like I said, really blew the whole game. They were up 8-3 and lost. So I will take the Reds tonight. I think the pitching matchup favors the Reds much better than last night, actually. Pesky team with a pesky lineup. Give me the Reds and the plus money.
Yeah, I agree with you. I took the Reds first 5 plus 140 here. I'm basically hoping that Noah blows up. And my biggest concern about this Reds team is the bullpen, right? I mean, we talked about it before. The Reds bullpen, the Rays bullpen, not wonderful. And this is a situation where I don't want to take the Reds bullpen, but I think if you take the first 5 plus 140, that's a good way to look. All right, you ready for this?
Yes.
I bet the Reds on Sunday.
Okay.
40-1 to win the NL Central. So they have to win the division with the idea here that their top 2 pitchers, Hunter Green and Lodono, first off, Lodono is on the DL. So he has not really pitched much at all this year. Hunter Green, who was 30-1 to win the Cy Young before this season, has been struggling. They called up Elly De La Cruz yesterday, who's supposed to be the top prospect in baseball. He looked pretty darn good yesterday. They have one more prospect in the minors who's supposed to be up next week, who is hitting better than Elly De La Cruz was. So you're getting lineup for support. You've got 2 pitchers that can be studs. And really, to me, the biggest thing is who's good in this division? Who's the good NL Central team?
I think it's a great bet. Here's the deal. My family's huge Cardinal fans, and I've got a few family members that watch the Cardinals every night. And so therefore they follow all the teams in this division. And they keep saying, as bad as the Cardinals are, if they could just win like 5 in a row, they'd be right in it. And that's the deal. The Reds are better than the Cardinals. They're better than the Cubs. The Reds are better than the Pirates. I know their record isn't, but I think they're better than the Pirates. Milwaukee is the worry. I don't think they're a great team. I love the Reds lineup, like love them. I don't hate most of the Reds starting pitchers. It's going to be the bullpen that's the culprit. They're very young as well. And sometimes that could be beneficial to you as well, because they don't know any better. They don't know that we're the Cincinnati Reds. We shouldn't win this division. At 40-1, it's worth a flyer. I like the bet.
They're only 5 back. I don't trust the Brewers. They started out 7-15. Since then, they're 21-16. If you go over 500 in this division, you have a legit shot at winning it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure the Cardinals are going to turn this around just because their pitching staff is not good. It's just not. I mean, that's the biggest problem for them is that, they're rolling out Jack Flaherty today, who's supposed to be good, but he hasn't been. No. Right? Wainwright is still starting for this team. He's not good anymore. Yesterday's pitcher was atrocious. Milikalis isn't good. Like they just don't have a ace, and there's no stopper there. So, and their offense has not been what you would expect it to be either. So maybe the Cardinals turn this around at some point. Right now, the Brewers are the favorite. The Cardinals are the second choice. Let me check and see if you can still get 40-1. Last I saw it was 35-1 on the Reds. I also bet the Reds plus 150, so 150-1 to win the NL pennant, with a simple idea that if I cash a boatload in the division, I can hedge the bejesus out of that every single round and still be wildly profitable.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Look, the Cardinals shouldn't be anywhere near. They should be like 80-1. They have no, like you said, they have no pitching. That's why they go on long losing streaks. They have no stopper, like you said, to go out there and kind of stabilize the situation when they're not hitting. And by the way, they either are hitting it hard and scoring 9-10 runs a game, or they can't get a hit. And that's where they're at right now. They can't do anything offensively. And then you got a guy like Liberatore or whatever the hell his name was last night. It's like, he wasn't like horrible, but he's not good enough to win a game for you 3-2, and nobody on that pitching staff is.
Yeah. So updated odds here: Bovada has the Brewers minus 200, the Pirates plus 450. That's a terrible number. The Cardinals 7-1, the Cubs 8.5-1. That's a terrible number, and the Reds 22-1. Bookmaker has the Brewers at minus 143 and the Reds at plus 20-1. So it looks like 22-1, 25-1, probably the best you're going to be able to find out there now on the Reds. I still think there's some value in it. I don't hate the idea of playing the Reds and the Cardinals either, if you're getting plus 700 and plus 2,200, right?
I wouldn't bet I think you need more to bet the Cardinals, honestly. And if you're betting the Pirates or the Cubs at those prices, that's crazy. Especially the Cubs. They're not a very good team. The Pirates started off real hot. They're not that good though right now. They got beat 11-2 or something by the A's yesterday. I mean, this is not a good team. Yeah, the Reds are the play based on the odds, no doubt. Unless you want to lay the Brewers. I mean, the Brewers are a clear favorite right now, in my
Correct.
opinion.
And Kevin mentions Andrew Abbott, who pitched yesterday, 15 Ks per 9 innings in the minors. That's okay. That's not bad. So it is interesting what they're going to be able to do. But yeah, I do like the Reds a little bit. So if you want to go out there and shop around, see if you can get a good number. I would also probably wait till the end of the Dodgers series here because, I mean, they're going to be dogs in both of these two games. If they lose them both, you're going to get a better number. Yep. So I take a breath, a beat before betting it if I was going to play it now. Let's head over to one of our other favorite teams, the D-backs, -120, taking on the Nationals today. Total sitting at 10. Did you do anything with this one, Aaron?
I didn't do anything with this one because the D-backs are the favorite here, and so when I see a favorite, I always try to look for the underdog next. And not playing Corbin, and I have a feeling you're going to have a total based on the fact that you always have a total bet when Corbin pitches for the Nationals. Look, if you want to lay -120 on the D-backs, go for it. It's just that's not kind of my style of bet, but I do favor the Diamondbacks today.
I have bet the Diamondbacks first 5 like every day this week. I have not bet it today. They have a terrible starting pitcher on the mound. I would shockingly lean over here. I have not bet the game yet. You can get D-backs +117 minus a half run in the first 5. So if I was going to play it, that would probably be the D-backs angle. I would take over or pass here. I have not played the game yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if I end up with an over bet because you said it. Patrick Corbin Day. I bet against him pretty much every time he's on the mound. He's having his best season in 3 years with a 5 ERA. All right, let's go to the Twins and the Rays here. Rays -130, total sitting at 8.5. The Rays really cooled off. I don't think people realize they are basically a 500 team since that 12-0 start. So you're still seeing that 12-0 start priced into some of the numbers here. I bet the Twins here +120. Did you take anything?
I bet the Twins last night. They got beat 7-0. But I like I said in the beginning, I'm not reactionary when it comes to that. But I did watch them. They were pretty lifeless. I did not bet this game either because I did not have enough confidence in the Twins starting pitcher tonight, Lopez. I'm a little bit worried about that. If the Twins had a good or a better, let's say, starting pitcher tonight, I would probably try it again. But I just wasn't a huge fan of Lopez, so I stayed away from this one. Armstrong going for Tampa. Don't know a whole lot about him, so we'll see what happens. But it was another situation. -130. No, didn't want to lay that on the Rays. Just didn't trust the Twins quite as much, so I stayed away from this one.
Now, what's the weakness of the Rays? If you said what is the weakest part of their team?
Bullpen, definitely bullpen.
They're throwing a bullpen game today. Their starter's going to go 1 to 2 innings. That's why I bet the Twins. Is because the bullpen's awful, and I realize Lopez is not the best starter for the Twins. I shouldn't say awful. It's just significantly worse than their starter pitchers. So if I get a shot and I'm on a bullpen day at a plus money on the other team, I'm going to take it. And that's why I took the Twins here because not a fan of the bullpen game. Interesting here. We've got a little back and forth. We've got someone saying the Brewers are a lock at -140. Someone else liking the O's, but doesn't like Kramer. Here's an Orioles pick as well. We might get into this game in a little bit, Aaron. We might dabble in that one. But before we do that, let's talk the race of the day. We're going to go to Horseshoe, Indianapolis here, race number 8. Have to add it into the line here. Aaron, we'll kick it off with you. Who you got here? Race number 8 at Horseshoe.
All right, Horseshoe Indy. Really good card today and a really good card every day, honestly. If you want to bet something Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when the big tracks are kind of taking off, this is your spot. It is a very good racetrack, and it gets a lot of good payouts. All right, today, nice Indiana bred stakes here, the Shelby County handicap here. I'm going to go the number 8 Hungarian Princess on top. We'll see if the source is ready to roll off the layoff. That's the big worry. But for me, I think she's got the perfect running style for how this is going to set up. I think there's plenty of speed out in front of her, but I think she can clear all the other horses and kind of just sit in that 3rd or 4th place position and pounce at the top of the stretch. I think she's the classiest of the Indiana breds in this field today. Look, I kind of went back and looked at a couple of her races off of layoffs, including last year, right here in this race, came off the same type of layoff and was a winner, doing exactly what I was trying to lay out at the beginning. Stalking the pace, sitting a length or two behind, pouncing and winning. So I'm going to hope for the same thing again. Number 8, Hungarian Princess for me.
This is one of $200,000 state-bred stakes races. We actually chose between 3 different races in the late pick 5. So definitely a late pick 5 I think is worth playing. They also have that 10% takeout there. So a good low takeout if you want to play horseshoe today. I thought this race was pretty tough. I mean, I have some interest in the 8. I don't think that's a bad pick at all. The layoff, obviously the concern there. I thought the 11, Little Eve, was really interesting as well. We're getting third off a layoff. She's run against state company before. Needs to improve a little bit, but seems to be getting better here. First off the layoff wasn't great. Second got a little bit better. Now we're third off the layoff today. I think she has a shot at running a big one. I'm going to go to the 3 horse here at 12-1. Everything's Rosy. This is going to be the first start of the 4-year-old career. This is a situation where Roger Gorham, 25% for the meet, 23% for the year, picks up Perez. 2 of them click off around 15%, but he's 23% off 180 days off. And I love that last workout too, 59-2 bullet workout going into this race. You mentioned the speed. I think this could collapse here. And that's where I look at the 3, Everything's Rosy, at a big price to try and pick up the pieces. Did you have any interest in the 3, or am I off my rocker here?
I don't think you're off your rocker at all. If you follow this circuit and kind of these middle of America circuits, we'll call them, for lack of a better term, Gorham is a guy that does a very good job, and he's doing an excellent job. Like I said, off layoffs as well. Look, I couldn't get there on top because the last time this horse ran against my top choice, it wasn't pretty. But there are a couple of races on the past performances that have this horse competitive today. I'm skeptical. I think this horse might like turf better. Has only been on the turf twice and did get a nice win in an allowance race over this track when he tried it, or when she tried it for the first time. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. It's a good starting off spot. You're going to get pace. That's the key. And I think the 3 could come running if she's ready to roll off this layoff.
Yeah, she's also cutting back quite a bit. Last 5 races, all a mile plus. So the distance may be a little bit of a concern, but 2 for 10 at Indiana, 4 for 10 in the money at 12-1 price. I'm willing to take a swing. We'll see what happens there. Indiana, race number 8. Like I said, 2 $100,000 state-bred stakes races, race 8 and 9. Closing out a late pick 5 that should pay pretty handsomely here, especially if we can get some of these prices on like a 12-1. All right, let's go to the best bets of the day. I will save the best for last, so I'll go first here. Angels minus a half run first 5 plus 115. They've got the Cubbies tonight. The Cubbies are starting Talon. He's not good. The Angels are starting Berea, who has been very good. And so I'm going to go with a bullpen game here from the Angels. I like the first 5 because of it. And so it's interesting with Berea. He has started 3 games this year. He has been out of the bullpen every other one. In the 3 games he has started, Aaron, he has given up 1 earned run. 1 earned run in 14 innings. This is not a good hitting Cubs team. I think if he goes, I don't want to play the full game because I'm not sure what happens after the first 5, right? But this is a situation where I think you have a bad starting pitcher versus a starting pitcher very likely to go 4 or 5 innings. And the 4 or 5 inning starting pitcher, I think, is exponentially better than the bad starting pitcher for the Cubs. I also give the lineup advantage to the Angels here. They're starting to hit the ball better. I'm going to take the Angels minus a half run first 5 plus 115.
I really need to start looking into some of these because, like with the Angels that we talked about, or that you just talked about, and a couple of the other where it's like minus 120, minus 130, 40, and I like that team. I really need to start playing these and get that plus number because that's a really good way to do it. I agree with everything you said. I looked at this game, and again, I look at the underdog, I look at the plus money, and go, I'm not betting the Cubs today. And instead of going a little deeper, I just go on to the next thing. So I think you kind of taught me through the last, not just today, I've seen these bets 3 or 4 days in a row now. Yeah, you maybe kind of figured out how to get some plus money on a favorite that you like without laying a minus 140. Obviously, you do have a little bit more of a risk factor in there, if it's 0-0 after 5 or 1-1, but I like this play a lot. And look, the Angels should really beat up on Italian. And if they do, I don't see the Cubs scoring enough to cover the minus half run there.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned there. This is the most I've bet baseball the last 3 weeks in my life. I feel like it is a high variance thing, kind of like hockey.
Yep.
And it's a volume play. So I generally bet between 1% and 5% of my bankroll on any game I'm playing. I've only bet 2 games the last 3 weeks over 2% of my bankroll in baseball, but I'm playing a lot of games at that 1% to 2% level, right? To try and, because I do think that there are 10 cent, 15 cent lines that are wrong, right? Where it's like, hey, you're getting plus 155, it should be plus 140, right? And those aren't, to me, ones where I want to throw 5 units on it, but at the same time, it is worth a % bet of my bankroll. So one of the things I looked at, because we originally like dog or pass, dog or pass, dog or pass.
Yep.
These first 5 run lines, very interesting, because I think when it's dog or pass, if you pass, you should almost look at the first 5 run line for the favorite, because you're usually laying a half run. You get 40 to 50 cents off that total. So, in this case, the Angels are, let's see, let me find it real quick so I can make sure I'm accurate about this. Angels are minus 123. You can actually get this at plus 115 off the minus 123. So saving almost 42 cents, right? And to me, that's where the value starts to come in, because I do think these teams with starting pitching edges that we don't want to bet the dog in are likely to win the first 5 innings.
All right. Well, I'm going to track the Padres because that's a team I thought about. I'm going to track the Rays. I'm going to track the Diamondbacks, and I'm going to track the game because I had this one circled as well, the Angels tonight.
Padres plus 132 minus a half. Rays, did you say?
Yep.
Rays plus 117 minus a half. Diamondbacks minus 110 minus a half. So you're basically getting coin flip or plus money on all these bets.
Well, okay. You may have figured out another thing we could use. I'm very excited about this now. I'm going to get right off here and write all these down. So I'm very excited about this now.
I've been enjoying these first 5. 4-0 yesterday. It was fun. It was the day before.
I think you do it now for 4 or 5 days in a row. You're texting those plays, and it's like, okay. And it's like, yeah, they're winning. And it is interesting because if we're sitting on here saying you got to bet plus money bets, you just have to. Hockey, baseball, got to bet plus money. You have to. Well, shit. Now you've got some more opportunities here. So, yeah, definitely going to take a look at this. I'm glad you pointed it out.
All right, let's jump over to Aaron's best bet of the day. Since just the two of us, figured we could have a little bit longer discussion about some betting theory stuff. So hopefully everyone enjoying that as well. Aaron, tell us why you like the O's.
Oh, yeah. So we've got some fighting in the chat, and I'll go here and with the Orioles tonight. Okay, so I talked about how you just hockey, baseball, either one. You absolutely cannot be reactional. You can't. Even if you watch these games, forget it. Forget about them. They're over once they end. And last night, the Orioles had a 3-2 lead into the 8th, and then it was 3-3, and then it went to the 10th, and they blew a chance to win the game. And then they got 2 strikes on a batter with 2 outs, and they gave up a hit and lost the game. So, you can't get mad at them, though. So we're going to go back Orioles here. We got a good number, plus 125. I like that. I'm going to go right back to the well. We talked about the Brewers. I don't think they're a great team. And it's a situation for me. I think this should just be a total coin flip, minus 110 type of situation. So I'm going to take the Orioles again, plus 125. You got Burns on the mound for the Brewers. He's not bad. But I kind of like Krumer for the Orioles. I think he's a guy who is getting better as the season goes along. Kind of a bad start, but he's been pitching okay lately. I think if he holds them in the game, I think if it gets to a bullpen game, even though the Orioles lost last night in a game that kind of got to the bullpen, I have confidence, though, they'll beat the Brewers in a bullpen type scenario if it's close, 6, 7, 8, 9 innings. So give me the Orioles and the plus money tonight for my best bet.
Excellent point on Kramer. 6.67 ERA in April. Since then, 2.45. So has really been pitching well recently after struggling a little bit early in the season. We've seen that with a lot of pitchers, actually. I think that's a lot to do with the pitch clock and kind of the adjustments. I think pitchers are starting to figure it out a little bit and get a little bit better. I think first 5 unders starting to look better because of that as well. Although I don't really like any of them today because we've got a bunch of bad pitchers on the mound. All right, let's jump through the best bets. Then we will sign off. Going to be a busy week here on Racing Dudes. We'll recap that as well. I'm going to take the Angels minus a half, first 5, plus 115. Aaron taking the O's plus 125. We are up $812 for the year. That is a $2,000 turnaround in 3 weeks. Hopefully, we can stay hot here. I know Magic's excited because the CFL returns this weekend with one game on Saturday and Sunday. I'm sure he'll be playing that. Before we take off, real quick programming note, we'll be live every single day, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, with Dudes Who Bet Daily leading up to the Belmont. We've got the Magic Mike Show today from 3 to 4 Pacific, 6 to 7 Eastern. We're going to have Blinkers Off tomorrow, covering a monster Friday and Saturday card over at Belmont. Dudes Who Bet Weekly will be on, or Dudes Who Bet, will be on Thursday with Papa Dude and Aaron. I'm interested to hear Papa Dude's take on the LIV tour and the PGA merger. I'm not ready to talk about it because I still can't figure out what the hell just happened. Even though I've listened and read a bunch about it, I have no clue. Like the money involved, I have no clue. The ownership piece, I know the Saudis now own part of the PGA, which is freaking wild. But we'll get into that more, I'm sure, as the week progresses, once we get more and more information coming out of there and responses from people like Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, who turned down over $1 billion combined to not join the LIV Tour. And now they don't get $1 billion. I'm sure they're not happy about that. So a lot going on in the sports world. And of course, we'll be live on Saturday for the Belmont Stakes and part of the undercard as well. Make sure you're following at @racing_dudes on Twitter and at Somobomb18, as well as at Curtis Kalleward. We'll all tweet out when we're going to be live there. I don't think we have a schedule yet, but that's going to happen as well. Aaron, anything I missed here?
Wow. No, I think you've done it all. Your reads are so good now.
I'm not even reading. That's off the dome, baby. Let's go. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Good luck with all of your baseball bets, your horse racing bets, and anything else that you are deciding to wager on, including the College World Series, the WNBA, both happening today as well. Oh, yeah, and the NBA, too. There's a finals game. So good luck with all those bets. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good one.